Imagine your proudest moment going up in flames right before your eyes. Sarah, my adopted sister, douses my laptop, the one holding my college thesis, with gasoline and sets it ablaze, screaming, "You don't deserve to succeed." The fire roars in our Seattle backyard, and my mom, Susan, just stands there, coldly saying, "Don't rub your success in Sarah's face, Emily." My heart shatters. That thesis was months of late nights, sweat, and tears to finish my final undergrad chapter. But to Sarah, my wins are a thorn in her side. She's 24, taken in by my family from an orphanage at 15, and has made my life hell for 8 years. Every time I achieve something, science fair awards, high grades, Sarah destroys it, spitting her usual line, "You don't deserve it." And Mom, instead of defending me, always sides with Sarah, blaming me for provoking her. This time, as flames devour my laptop, I stand frozen, watching my hard work turn to ash. Susan steps forward, offering no comfort, just repeating, "Sarah's hurting. You need to understand." Understand? I've tried for 8 years, ever since Sarah threw my science trophy at my head, tore up my college acceptance letter, and now burned my dreams. But in that moment, amid smoke and fire, I know I can't live in this fear anymore. This isn't just about a ruined laptop. It's about how I fight to reclaim my life from a family determined to drag me down. Stick around, because what happens next will keep you glued. The fire in our Seattle backyard still haunts me, but it's just the start of this story. As smoke from my charred laptop drifted into the air, I realized one thing. My family never wanted me to shine. My name's Emily, and for 8 years I've lived in the shadow of my adopted sister, Sarah, and my mom, Susan's manipulation. To understand how I ended up in this nightmare, let me take you back. Sarah came to our family at 15, a scrawny, quiet girl with eyes full of hurt. I was 16, thrilled at the idea of a sister, a friend to share my big dreams with. We adopted Sarah from a Seattle orphanage, and Mom said she'd endured hell in her previous foster home. They called her worthless, ignored her at birthday parties, dressed her in tattered hand-me-downs while their biological kid got new clothes. Sarah's report cards were tossed in the trash while their kids' B's were praised. "You don't deserve anything good." Those words seared into Sarah's mind, and she brought them to our home, weaponizing them against me. At first, I tried to befriend Sarah. I remember winning my first high school science award, rushing home, clutching a shiny trophy, eager to show Sarah before anyone else. But she snatched it, hurled it at my head, and screamed, "You don't deserve it." Blood trickled down my forehead, and I stood stunned as Mom hugged Sarah, whispering, "Don't flaunt your wins in front of her, Emily. She's hurting." From then on, Mom set a rule. I couldn't share my successes, couldn't let Sarah see me happy, because it would trigger her. I tried, really tried, to understand Sarah, to love her like a sister, but every step forward I took, from small awards to high grades, Sarah destroyed. She tore up my essays, smashed my graduation photo frame, and now burned the laptop holding the thesis I poured my heart into. My mom, Susan, never took my side. Every time Sarah exploded, Mom recited her tragic past, as if it justified my suffering. "Sarah needs you, Emily. You have to sacrifice a little," she'd say, like my dreams were disposable. But I can't keep living like this, hiding my joy, burying my successes, just so Sarah doesn't feel threatened. I'm done shrinking myself, done with the guilt Mom heaps on me. This story isn't just about broken things. It's about how I learned to stand up, face a family hell-bent on dragging me down, and fight for my right to live. Keep watching, because what happens next will blow your mind. The smoke from my burned laptop still lingers in my mind, but that moment pales compared to what happened when I got my acceptance letter from a top medical school in Chicago. It was a bright spring day in Seattle when I opened the mailbox and saw the envelope from Northwestern University, Feinberg School of Medicine. My heart pounded, hands shaking as I tore it open. "Congratulations, Emily Carter! You've been accepted!" I screamed, clutching the letter like it was my ticket out of family hell. 8 years of grinding, crying over textbooks, pushing through Mom's pressure, and Sarah's rage. All of it led to my dream of becoming a doctor. I called my best friend, posted the letter on Instagram, and started apartment hunting in Chicago. For the first time, I felt like Emily, not Sarah's shadow or the family's sacrificial lamb. But the joy didn't last. When Mom, Susan, walked in and saw me dancing with the letter, her smile froze. "That's great, Emily," she said, her voice syrupy, but her eyes ice cold. "We need to figure out how to make this work for Sarah, too." I froze. "What do you mean?" She sat down, looking at me like I was a clueless kid. "Sarah needs stability. Chicago has great therapy programs. You'll take her with you, and I'll cover a 2-bedroom apartment." The floor dropped out from under me. Sarah, who burned my laptop, tore my essays, threw a trophy at my head, would live with me in Chicago. She'd have access to my medical textbooks, my study materials, my future. I tried to stay calm. "Mom, you know what Sarah does when I succeed. She destroyed my thesis last week." Susan's brow furrowed, her voice sharp. "Sarah's doing better. If you really cared about your sister, you'd help her heal." Better. I flashed back to the night before, studying late for an exam, when Sarah snuck into my room. The next morning, I found my acceptance letter shredded, its pieces scattered across the floor like fragments of my dreams. When I confronted her, Sarah just smirked, and Mom scolded me for bragging. Now, Mom wanted me to bring that nightmare to Chicago. I took a deep breath, keeping my voice steady. "Mom, I'm going alone. Sarah can visit, FaceTime anytime, and I'll come home for holidays. I'll even find therapy programs near here for her." Susan shot up, face flushed. "If you don't take Sarah, I won't pay a dime for your tuition." I met her gaze, heart racing but voice firm. "Then I'll take out more loans. I'll figure it out." Those words cut the cord tying me to my family. But I knew the cost of freedom wouldn't come cheap. Susan stormed off, leaving me with a crumpled letter and a gut feeling a storm was brewing. Stay tuned, because what Sarah does next will chill you to the bone. The medical school acceptance letter from Chicago was my light at the end of the tunnel, but I never expected Sarah to turn it into my worst nightmare. After I declared I'd cover my own tuition and leave Sarah behind, the air in our Seattle home grew suffocating. Mom, Susan, glared at me like she wanted to swallow me whole while Sarah stayed silent. A terrifying silence, like the calm before a storm. I thought I was ready for anything, but I was wrong. Sarah wasn't just out to destroy my things anymore. This time, she targeted my reputation, and she did it with ruthless precision. One morning, while I was at the university library, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Texts from friends, social media notifications, even an email from a professor, all about a TikTok video. I opened it, and my heart stopped. There was Sarah, sitting in our living room, tears streaming, telling thousands of viewers that I, Emily, had abandoned my poor adopted sister to chase my selfish dreams. She claimed I ignored her pain, flaunted my achievements to make her feel worthless. She even brought up my med school acceptance, calling it proof of my heartlessness. The video ended with Sarah sobbing. "I just wanted her to love me, but she chose to ditch our family." It racked up over 1 million views in 24 hours. I sat frozen in the library, feeling the world crumble. Friends texted, some asking if it was true, others ghosting me outright. A professor emailed, sternly requesting I address this ethical issue. In the hallways, I caught whispers, curious stares, judgmental glances. For 8 years, I'd hidden my successes to dodge Sarah's wrath, and now she'd made me the villain in everyone's eyes. I raced home to confront Susan, hoping she'd defend me, but Mom just shrugged, saying, "Sarah's hurting, Emily. She's just expressing her feelings. You need to learn to forgive." Forgive? How could I forgive when Sarah had made me a public laughingstock? I tried calling her, but she'd blocked my number. I checked TikTok and saw another video worse than the first. Sarah held up my shredded acceptance letter, saying I deserved it for making her feel inferior. The comments below overflowed with hate, calling me callous, selfish. Some even sent threatening messages saying I should be ashamed for abandoning Sarah. I felt the whole world turn against me, and the worst part, Susan stayed silent. She sat in the kitchen, scrolling her phone, as if my reputation meant nothing. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, tears rolling down. I'd fought so hard for med school, to break free from Sarah's shadow, but now she dragged me lower than ever. I knew I couldn't let this go on. I had to take back my life, but how? When the world was against me. Stay tuned, because my next move will shock you. Sarah's slanderous TikTok video stabbed my heart, turning me into a traitor in Seattle's eyes. My reputation shattered, friends ghosted me, and even professors grew suspicious. But I, Emily, couldn't let Sarah steal my medical school dream. The white coat ceremony at Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine in Chicago was nearing, a milestone marking my first step toward becoming a doctor. I knew Sarah and Mom, Susan, wouldn't let me savor it. They'd burned my laptop, shredded my acceptance letter, and now trashed my reputation. I couldn't let them ruin this ceremony, so I hatched a bold plan to protect my future. First, I needed to throw Sarah and Susan off. I posted on Instagram, pretending the white coat ceremony was at an old convention center in downtown Chicago. I added fake details, wrong time, wrong address, even a photo of a different building. To be safe, I asked my best friend Lisa to monitor Sarah's social media and alert me if she or Susan made a move. Lisa caught Sarah saving my post and texting Susan, "We have to go there." I smirked. They'd taken the bait. Next, I contacted the medical school's security. I spilled everything, from Sarah burning my laptop to her defamatory video, and begged for extra protection. The head of security, Mr. James, nodded empathetically. "We won't let anyone disrupt your day, Emily," he said. I also hired a private bodyguard, Mike, to stand near the stage in case Sarah found the real venue. I left nothing to chance. The night before the ceremony, I barely slept. I hid my white coat in Lisa's closet, locked my dorm room, and checked my phone obsessively. Susan texted, "Mom and Sarah are so excited to support you in Chicago." Support? Like when Sarah shredded my letter or torched my thesis. I didn't reply, just clutched my crumpled acceptance letter, telling myself, "I've got this." On ceremony day, Lisa drove me to the real venue through a hidden back entrance. I slipped on my white coat, feeling the cool fabric on my shoulders, and for the first time in 8 years, I felt pride without fear. In the auditorium, other students laughed and snapped photos while I quietly scanned the doors. Mr. James stood guard, signaling all clear. Lisa texted, "Sarah and Susan are at the fake venue, standing in the rain, looking pissed." I exhaled, though my heart still raced. As the ceremony began, I walked on stage, hearing my name, Emily Carter. I accepted my coat, smiling for the cameras. And for once, I didn't hear Sarah's scream of, "You don't deserve it." No burning laptops, no torn letters, just me, standing tall, being myself. When it ended, Lisa rushed over, hugging me and yelling, "You did it!" I looked around, no sign of Sarah or Susan. My plan worked, but I knew this victory was temporary. Sarah and Susan wouldn't stop, and the next storm was brewing. Stay tuned, because what happens next will keep you glued. Outsmarting Sarah and Mom, Susan, at the white coat ceremony in Chicago was the first time I, Emily, felt truly in control of my life. But back in Seattle, I knew freedom's price wouldn't be cheap. Susan and Sarah, tricked into waiting in the rain at a fake venue, must have been furious. I'd won this round, but they wouldn't let it slide. Our Seattle home, where I grew up, now felt like a battlefield, and I couldn't keep living in fear of Sarah's next attack or Susan's manipulations. It was time to leave, not just to protect my future, but to save myself. I found a tiny studio apartment in Seattle's suburbs with peeling paint and a window overlooking a parking lot. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. I moved out on a rainy night, quietly packing clothes, books, and a few irreplaceable items. I didn't tell Susan or Sarah, leaving only a note. "I need my own space. I'll be fine." Closing the house door for the last time, I felt relief and guilt. Relief from escaping Sarah's wrath, but guilt from Susan's words echoing, "Family is everything, Emily. You can't abandon Sarah." Susan wouldn't let me go. Days after moving, she started harassing me. She called the coffee shop where I worked part-time, pretending concern, telling my manager I was having a mental breakdown and needed to be sent home. She mailed letters to my new place, long rants accusing me. "You're tearing this family apart. Sarah cries every night because of you." She even contacted relatives, painting me as a selfish daughter who ditched her poor sister for med school dreams. My aunt, Linda, called, voice sharp. "Susan sacrificed everything for you and Sarah. How dare you turn your back?" I tried explaining, but no one listened. To them, I was the traitor. Strangest of all was Sarah. I braced for an explosion, a smashed mirror, a burned keepsake, or at least another slanderous TikTok. But nothing. Sarah was silent, eerily so. No texts, no appearances, not even the menacing stares she used to signal destruction. My best friend Lisa checked Sarah's social media and reported she hadn't posted since the last defamatory video. "Something's off," Lisa said. "Sarah's never this quiet." I agreed, but part of me didn't dare hope. 8 years with Sarah taught me her silence often meant a bigger storm was coming. I started building a new life in my little apartment. I worked night shifts at the coffee shop, studied on a cramped kitchen table, and focused on my med school dream. But every knock on the door, every call from an unknown number, made my heart race. Susan's letters grew more threatening. "If you don't come back, I'll go to Chicago and talk to your school directly." I knew she wasn't bluffing, but I also knew I couldn't return. Couldn't let them drag me back into the cage I'd just escaped. I stood at a crossroads, keep running or face them. Then something unexpected happened, changing everything. Stay tuned, because this story's about to get unbelievable. My tiny Seattle apartment was where I, Emily, began rebuilding my life. But the shadow of Mom, Susan, and my adopted sister Sarah loomed large. Susan's threatening letters, relatives' accusations, and fear of Sarah's next sabotage kept me on edge. I was used to Sarah's outbursts, my burned laptop, shredded acceptance letter, slanderous TikTok videos, but her silence now unnerved me more than ever. I braced for a bigger storm, a calculated revenge. Then, one rainy evening, everything changed forever. I was studying at my kitchen table when a knock came. My heart raced. Only Lisa knew I lived here. Peering through the peephole, I froze. Sarah stood there, drenched, eyes red, clutching an old notebook. No smirk, no rage, just a Sarah I'd never seen. Fragile, almost desperate. I hesitated but opened the door, hand on my phone, ready to dial 911. "I'm not here to wreck anything," Sarah said, voice hoarse. "I just need to talk." I let her in but kept my distance. Sarah sat, placing the notebook on the table. "This is everything I've done to you," she said, sliding it toward me. I opened it, each page a gut punch. She documented it all, burning my laptop, tearing my letter, posting those videos. But it wasn't just a list of destruction. She wrote about her jealousy, insecurity, and pain from her old foster family, where she was called worthless. "Seeing you succeed, happy, deserving, I couldn't stand it," Sarah said, eyes welling. "Because if you were worthy, maybe I was the one who wasn't." I was speechless. Then Sarah dropped a bigger bomb. "Mom's planning to sue you, Emily. She says you abandoned the family, that she'll drag you to court to protect me." She showed me Susan's texts, plans to contact lawyers, call my med school, even spread rumors I was mentally unfit for medicine. "I deleted some of her messages before she sent them," Sarah said. "I told her you moved to Portland, not Chicago. I'm trying to protect you." I stared at Sarah, the person who'd hurt me for 8 years, now sitting here, confessing and shielding me. I wanted to scream, to throw the notebook at her, but part of me sensed her sincerity. "Why now?" I asked. Sarah looked down. "I started therapy, new meds, and seeing you leave, living for yourself, made me realize I was wrong. I don't want to be the one who destroys you anymore." She looked up, eyes wet. "I know you can't forgive me, but you need to know the truth." I held the notebook, my heart a mess. 8 years of pain couldn't vanish with an apology, but this was the first time Sarah admitted she was wrong. I didn't know if I could trust her, but something in her eyes, not the destroyer I knew, but a person trying to make amends. Susan was still a threat, and I had to decide: forgive Sarah or keep running from them both. Stay tuned, because this story's about to get more intense than ever. Sarah sat across from me in my tiny Seattle apartment, handing me a notebook chronicling 8 years of pain she'd caused and revealing that Mom, Susan, was plotting to sue me for abandoning the family. Her confession stunned me, but before I could process it, a bigger threat loomed. Susan wasn't stopping at harassing letters or calls. She was escalating, dragging the whole family into a campaign to destroy me, Emily, right where I was building my future. One morning, as I prepped for a Zoom class with Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine from Seattle, my best friend Lisa texted urgently, "Check Twitter now, your mom's going off." I opened the app and saw a trending hashtag Justice for Sarah. Susan had posted a long thread accusing me of being a selfish daughter who abandoned Sarah, a victim of trauma. She attached photos of Sarah crying and the old TikTok video where Sarah slandered me. Worst of all, she called for the family to go to Chicago, planning a protest outside my med school with signs reading, "Emily abandons her sister," and "Family is everything." The thread had thousands of retweets, and strangers online attacked me, calling me heartless and shameful. I called Sarah, voice shaking. "Did you know about this?" Sarah sighed. "I tried to stop Mom. I told her I didn't want to make a scene, but she wouldn't listen. She's bringing Aunt Linda and some relatives to Chicago this morning." My blood boiled. Susan wasn't just ruining my online reputation. She wanted to wreck my medical career in front of my peers, professors, and the world. I pictured students filming, hashtags spreading, my dream of becoming a doctor vanishing. I rushed to the door, ready to contact campus security, but Lisa texted again. Sarah's there too, but she's fighting with your mom right outside the school. Stunned, I checked Twitter and found a student's live stream from campus. Susan stood in a crowd holding a sign shouting, "Emily thinks she's better than her family. She abandoned her poor sister." Aunt Linda and relatives cheered, but Sarah stood off to the side, face flushed. She yelled, "Stop, Mom! Emily didn't do anything wrong! You're hurting both of us." Susan spun, jabbing a finger at Sarah. "Shut up, Sarah. You're betraying the family just like her." The crowd buzzed, cameras panned to Sarah, and she burst into tears, running off screen. I sank to the floor, hands trembling. Sarah, my former nightmare, was publicly defying Susan to protect me, but Susan kept going. The live stream showed her ranting, rallying the crowd to demand justice for Sarah as hashtag Justice for Sarah climbed to top trends. Students snapped photos, posted online, and I knew my reputation was being shredded. I couldn't let Susan win. I needed to act, and it had to be bigger than ever. Stay tuned, because what I do next will leave you speechless. Susan turned my Chicago med school into a public stage, with banners and the hashtag Justice for Sarah hashtag smearing me, Emily, before hundreds of students and the online world. Sarah, my former nightmare of an adopted sister, unexpectedly stood up to Mom, but it didn't stop the crowd from filming, spreading a false narrative that I was a selfish family deserter. My reputation and medical dreams were being torn apart. I couldn't keep hiding or let Susan control the story. It was time for me, Emily, to reclaim the truth, and I chose the boldest way. An Instagram live stream confronting Susan and Sarah live before thousands. I called my best friend Lisa to prep. "You sure, Emily?" she asked, voice tense. "This is a huge gamble." I nodded, heart pounding. I posted on Instagram, "The truth about my family. Live stream tonight, 8 p.m. I messaged Sarah, unsure if she'd respond. "If you want to tell the truth, join the live stream. Last chance." Surprisingly, she replied, "I'll be there." I gathered Sarah's notebook, her diary of 8 years of sabotage, and rehearsed my words. I didn't want revenge, just the world to know the truth. At 8 p.m., I started the live stream from my Seattle apartment. The viewer count surged, 500, then 1,000, then 5,000. I took a deep breath and began. "I'm Emily Carter, and for 8 years I've lived in fear of my adopted sister Sarah and my mom Susan's manipulation." I shared how Sarah burned my laptop with my thesis, shredded my med school acceptance letter, and posted slanderous TikTok videos. I held up Sarah's notebook, reading aloud. I burned Emily's laptop because I was jealous. I tore her letter because I couldn't stand her happiness. The comments exploded. "What the hell? She did that?" Then Susan joined the live stream. She requested to go live with me, and I agreed, ready to confront her. Susan started as usual, voice sweet but icy. "Emily, you're hurting our family. Sarah just needs your love." I cut her off, showing texts she sent Sarah, plans to sue me, contact my school, spread rumors. "This is your love, Mom?" I asked. Susan stammered, face flushed, but persisted. "Sarah needs you. You're selfish for abandoning her." The online crowd turned, comments flooding. "She's manipulating." Suddenly, Sarah joined the live stream from her phone in Chicago, standing outside, voice shaky. "Mom, stop. Emily didn't abandon me. I'm the one who hurt her." Sarah looked into the camera, tears streaming. "I burned Emily's stuff, slandered her because I believed I didn't deserve anything good. But Mom made it worse, pitting us against each other." She turned to Susan. "You used my pain to control Emily." "Enough!" Susan screamed. "Sarah, you're betraying me." But Sarah shook her head, cutting Susan off, leaving just me and her on the live stream. Sarah and I locked eyes through the screen, 8 years of pain flashing in silence. "I'm sorry, Emily," Sarah said, voice breaking. "You deserve everything good." The live stream ended with over 20,000 viewers, comments pouring in support for me and Sarah. Susan was exposed, and for the first time, I felt unburdened. But is this really the end? Stay tuned, because the road ahead is still full of surprises. The Instagram live stream exposed the truth, showing the world how Mom, Susan, manipulated us, and how Sarah, my adopted sister, confessed to years of sabotaging me. With over 20,000 viewers, I, Emily, finally felt free from my family's shadow. But that victory wasn't the end. It was the start of a new journey, rebuilding my life in Chicago, far from Seattle's drama. This is the story of how I found freedom and chased the future I always dreamed of. After the live stream, Susan went silent. No more threatening letters, no calls to my job, no #JusticeForSarah hashtags. Aunt Linda said Susan started therapy, confronting her controlling ways. She sent me a short text. "I'm sorry, Emily. I need time." I didn't reply, not ready to forgive, but I kept the message, a sign that maybe, someday, things could change. Dad, always on the sidelines, started texting. Simple stuff about weather or work. I replied briefly, small steps, not ready to open up. Sarah was the biggest surprise. Post-live stream, she moved to an intensive therapy center outside Chicago, supported by trauma specialists. She texted occasionally, not pushing, just updates. Painted a picture in art therapy today. Or new meds help me stay calm. I didn't respond right away, but I didn't delete them. 8 years of pain don't vanish. But I saw a new Sarah. Not the one who burned my laptop or slandered me, but someone trying to heal. Once she sent a photo of a plant she grew, captioned, "Learning to nurture, not destroy." I smiled but kept my distance. Maybe one day we'll talk, but not yet. I moved to Chicago permanently, renting a small apartment near med school. I dove into studies, anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, all tough, but I loved every second. I aced my first exam and posted my white coat photo on Instagram, openly, unafraid of sabotage. A few relatives liked it, a small sign of change. I worked part-time at a nearby coffee shop, saving every penny for tuition loans. Life wasn't easy, but it was mine. No one screaming, "You don't deserve it," or burning my dreams. Lisa, my best friend, became my real family. She visited weekends, bringing pizza and joking about our crazy Seattle days. "You're stronger than a superhero, Emily," she said, and for the first time, I believed it. I was no longer the girl hiding achievements or jumping at every knock. I was Emily Carter, medical student, who fought through family hell to stand here, proud and free. But the story doesn't end. Something bigger awaits, a lesson I want to share. Stay tuned, because the final part will make you reflect on your own life. I stand here, Emily Carter, a medical student in Chicago, reflecting on 8 years of pain and triumph. From days of fear in Seattle, where my adopted sister Sarah burned my laptop, shredded my acceptance letter, and slandered me online, to confronting Mom, Susan, on a live stream before thousands. I've learned hard lessons about family, boundaries, and self-worth. Today I share them with you, not just to close my story, but to help you apply them to your own life. First lesson, setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. Susan guilted me into sacrificing my medical dreams to care for Sarah, making me feel wrong for choosing myself. But I realized family isn't an excuse for control or harm. Leaving home, refusing to take Sarah to Chicago, and facing Susan on the live stream drew clear lines. You can too. Say no to demands that drain you, whether from family or friends. You deserve to live for yourself. Second lesson, forgiveness is a choice, not an obligation. Sarah apologized, and I see her trying to change in therapy, but 8 years of sabotage don't fade easily. I haven't fully forgiven, and that's okay. Forgiveness isn't erasing the past. It's finding peace for yourself. If you're struggling to forgive, give yourself time. Don't let others pressure you to move on before you're ready. Finally, courage isn't fighting or revenge. It's living true to your values. I didn't beat Susan by shouting back or retaliating against Sarah. I won by leaving, studying medicine, and embracing my dreams. Every white coat photo or high grade is my victory over cries of, "You don't deserve it." You can do this too. Walk away from those who drag you down, chase your passions, and be proud of yourself. I ask you to reflect. Is someone making you feel small? Are you hiding your light to please others? If so, stand up, set boundaries, and choose yourself. Your life is yours, and you deserve to be loved and shine. Thank you for following my story. Share your thoughts in the comments, and together, let's inspire each other to live authentically. My story ends here, but your journey is just beginning.